We are here today, November 2nd, 2025, another Consul General, Attorney General study session. We're going to talk on a few different subjects um, that are very important, from the history to the legal um, to maybe some personal matters that needs to be addressed today. But we're always going to get back into the legal aspect of what we're doing to protect ourselves. So we'll end the class with our Empire Morocco, soon to be consular notification to access. Islam.
Islam.
So
Islam.
we
Islam.
Islam. Greeting to everyone.
greeting to you, brother Mike.
Islam.
So we got to understand that we're spending 60 to 70 hours, 80 hours a week, more science, writing. I can imagine the Minister of Foreign Affairs who constantly having to do research about diplomacy, who we should be, what's the route we need to go for the diplomatic relations, for decolonization. This man is overwhelmed. The Prime Minister, who needs to have his pulse on as being the branch head, the head of the government, because there's a difference. Please mute your background. There's a difference between the head of the government and head of state. So my question to the Moors on this floor, because it's a study session, who's the head of government and what is his name?
Sultan Al-Kabir.
No.
Majesty the Sultan.
No. See, this is why we're in a study session. We're in a study session because he's not the head of government. I'm going to ask this question again. Who is the head of government within the Empire of Morocco at this time?
Prime Minister.
Prime Minister, what is his name?
Akil Bey.
Akil. He's the head of government. Who is the head of state?
The Sultan.
Abdul Smith Al-Kabir.
Correct. So there's two different distinctions there. But the Sultan does oversee the Prime Minister. Let's not. So you were right, but we got to understand that he's the head of state. Whatever government issues is going on within the Empire of Morocco, then the Prime Minister has to have his hands all over it. It's not like he's nosy, but at the end of the day, he needs to know what's going on. But he has to become great at what you call delegation from a legal standpoint, right or wrong. He has to entrust that the wazirs are doing their jobs from their internal states. And that's why you had your wazir calls, because we have to learn on how to trust each other. You say, well, where are you going? Where are you going with this, Attorney General? Where I'm going with this is that not only are we putting 80 hours in a week, learning, just having meetings or just being on calls and getting concepts, and then now we have a social media platform that we got to stay on, because I'm not disagreeing with the fact of y'all staying on social media and having to protect the empire against these outlaws, right? But let me tell you what I am against as your Attorney General. I'm against you talking about kids. I'm against, see, this is lower than life, people. So I made a call today. And I said, Sultan, they've went to the point to talk about somebody's child. And some of the deficiencies that this child may have. Those aren't Moors. Because a Moor that is divine Moors don't stoop as low as to talk about children that may struggle in different areas. Because my background, for y'all to know, I was in a mental health facility with children who struggled. I was in Denver Children's Home One of them was called Jefferson Hill Mental Health Center. One of them was called Denver Children's Home. I am now the head dean of a high school where I deal with children every day. And Akil can contest to this because he's on the phone when I'm at work. I deal with children who have issues. And my job is to protect those children, to protect those Moorish subjects, whether they're Mexican, Somalian, Ethiopian, Europeans. My job is still to protect those children that have struggles. But when if the best thing you can do is attack our Sultan going through his son, now that's lower than life. You're a low life person. You have no divineness. So this document that I have up here from a legal standpoint is going to talk to you guys about who you're dealing with. Islam?
Islam.
Because there's nobody on this call, children should be attacked because we're all adults and we decided to get into a political movement. And we decided to get into government. But my children have nothing to do with the government, with what I'm doing for the government. Now, take in mind is that we all gave up some of our careers. Take yourself off mute if you gave up your career to get into this decolonization movement. If you've given up your career, I'm going to raise my hand and say yes to that.
Islam.
Because it's a lot of time. It's a lot of time we all put in.
Time, patience, and obedience.
Correct. So all y'all have made sacrifices. So when I say to me, when you say, hey, brother, I know your light bill, I might have a little bit more than you now, so I'm going to help you out in this area. This isn't for you to try to camel back because you upset at somebody and say, hey, look and see what I did for you, right? When your brother and sisters were struggling. That's not what family does. That's somebody that wants to try to hold something over your head, which has nothing to do with legal. Because everything that's being posted on, I don't even have no social media pages, but everything that's being posted has nothing to do with the affidavit that says constitutional breach and sedition. Right or wrong, Morris?
That's right.
Right. Right.
What does Amina, the ex-wife of the Sultan, have to do with the affidavit that says constitutional breach and sedition? That's my question to the floor.
It has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, nothing at all.
Nothing.
Nada.
Nothing to do with it. What does that have to do with the Sultan having a personal physical illness that has to do with the affidavit of constitutional breach and sedition by the three government officials, Nova Luil, Dre DeAndre Bay, and Jermaine Spencer? What does that have to do with their sedition against the Constitution? And did we know that the Sultan, because of this Moroccan movement, the Sultan moved away from his son to go and help the Moors decolonize, to start the government for decolonization, and moved away from his son, which was one of the hardest things he had to do to help out the Moors. And this is on how we turn around and repay the Sultan, who moved away from his son so he couldn't keep an eye on. The mother was working, father's away, and the boy went into lower self because the Sultan, the father, had to be close to the people that he was trying to help decolonize. And you try to use that against him, but that has nothing to do with this legal matter of this affidavit of constitutional breach and sedition. And it has nothing to do with the point is that you're still being investigated. You're still suspended, and now you're removed, and you did not even come before the council for your due process, and then you started a fraudulent document the criminal proceedings against Abdul Smith Al Kabir without going through. Now, my question for the floor: if you're under suspension and investigation, can you go and start your own court case when you're already suspended and being investigated?
That is a no.
Now, Cypher.
You can gather information for the court proceedings for the investigation, but you can't do what you did. No.
Okay.
Definitely.
So video 174 and 175, does that not show their corruption of due process of law?
Yes, it does.
Correct.
Okay, but for people who don't understand law, that's why they need to be at this class on Sunday, because they're going to get swayed. They're going to get swayed if they don't know that at the beginning. You see, in the beginning, right? There was 3 people under investigation and suspended, not removed. But eventually we had to remove these people. And by the Sultan removing them, I want all 16 people to take yourself off of mute. Was he in every right as of today of November 2nd of 2024 and everything that they've done, was he in every right to suspend them when he suspended them? That's a question to the floor.
That is correct.
That's correct. That's correct.
Islam, that is correct.
Okay, so the Sultan was right to suspend them because they showed their sedition by creating some fraudulent court proceedings. Now, I went in front of the court when I got a traffic ticket. My judge at the time name was Nicole Redarte. Go back and look her up. Nicole Redarte. And not one time did the judge that was proceeding over my traffic ticket for fictitious plates, they're so-called fictitious plates, not one time was she on, because I was watching her, not one time did she come on Facebook and start talking about the case. Let me ask y'all a question. How many judges have talked about this fraudulent court case on Facebook or on a public platform? Can y'all please tell me those 2 judges' names, please?
None of them. The only judge I know that did that was Jay Bay and
former judge.
Yes, former. That's right. Correct me.
Former Judge Jay Bay and Dominique McClue.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. So one of the judges that's presiding over this pseudo court case is Dominique McClue, who's all over Facebook. The other judge was J. Jermaine Bay, who recused himself from the case. In the last video, 174 and 175, he still put the case up there again and was in the same room while the recording was going on for 2 hours and allowing the case to go on while he was in the same room. So please tell me, does the judicial branch at AMPAC 2.0 have any credibility at this point?
Nope.
None at all.
Okay. Because I'm asking y'all because y'all are the people. Now, let me tell you, with this document we got up here, let me tell you what they're trying to do. It's called the control opposition. The control opposition, do I have a reader or anyone that wants to read this for me? I would prefer Sarah Raha or anyone that can read it, or a judge. If not, then I'll read it.
I can read it if Sarah is not gonna read it.
Okay, this is Consul General Kyrie Bay. Thank you, Consul General Kyrie.
Greetings.
Okay, Markeisha. Okay, so Speaker Markeisha, can you please read what AMPAC 2.0 is trying to do to the Empire of Morocco?
Okay, let me see. Point of interest, real quick, Attorney General. It's Markisha.
Markisha. Markisha. Okay, Markisha. My apologies. I stand corrected. My apologies, sister. Markisha.
Thank you, Sister Ruff. Let's see here. It says, control opposition is when a group or party appearing to act as an opposition is actually manipulated by the ruling powers to appear legitimate while having no real power to affect change. This can be a strategy in one party states, or a way to give the illusion of democratic process without actually allowing for true dissent. Appears to oppose. The group functions publicly as an opponent to the government, lacks real power. It is not truly independent and does not have the ability to make significant changes or challenge the ruling party's authority. Serves the ruling power. It can be used to create the impression of a loyal opposition or a guided democracy, which can pacify the public without any real shift in policy or power. Different from loyal opposition, it is distinct from the concept of a loyal opposition in a healthy democracy, where the opposition remains a legitimate and critical force within the system. Controlled opposition refers to.
My apologies.
Controlled opposition refers to a group or person that appears to be opposing a dominant power or system, but is actually being influenced, funded, or managed by that same system to control dissent or misdirect genuine resistance. Here's a breakdown. Number one, core definition. Control opposition is when those in power create or infiltrate an opposition movement in order to monitor who is against them, shape the movement's direction, spread misinformation or division, neutralize real threats to their authority. Essentially, it's a strategy to control both sides of a conflict, the official power and its supposed critics. Historical and political context. The concept has appeared in many political or intelligence contexts. Authoritarian regimes have used fake resistance groups to identify dissenters.
Okay, so at this time, point of interest, House Speaker, who is the fake opposition?
What Impact?
Impact
2.0. 2.0 is.
Because why now? The question is now, why is Impact 2.0 the fake opposition? Number one, they don't have a sultan. And even when they try to appoint a sultan, it's going to be a fraudulent pseudo sultan. Number two, there were 3 officials that was put under investigation and suspension, and they decided that they were above the law and they were going to start their own pseudo court proceedings on the Sultan of the Empire of Morocco, which states in your constitution, Article 80, Section 2 states that the Sultan does not have to show up to any tribunals or any courts and does not have to be a part of any investigation proceedings. But they just said, no. We don't respect the Moors. We don't respect the movement. And we don't respect the person that we elected as the Sultan. Continue on, Speaker.
Cold War intelligence agencies occasionally planted agents within activist or revolutionary circles. Modern
please
politics.
Read that one more time.
Cold War intelligence agencies occasionally planted agents within activist or revolutionary circles.
Oh my God. How long have we been at this, Moors? How long have we been at this movement of nationalization and decolonization?
Long time, what, 1991?
Let's just, no, before that,
Even
say
longer than that.
1913.
Yeah.
Prophet Noble Jew Ali, right or wrong?
Right.
Correct.
And who came after the prophet? Il Shabazz, right or wrong?
Correct.
Who was there with Il Shabazz? Martin Luther King, right or wrong?
Correct.
And the only so-called activist that ain't dead is the slickhead Farrakhan, whose mama is from St. Kitts, which is the island next to Mexico, and he keeps talking about black, but he know that we have nationalities. Hopefully you heard what I just said, Morris.
Yes, he knows.
Yeah. I didn't
His
know
mama is from St. Kitts. His daddy was a British soldier. Look at his hair.
Yep.
So don't tell me at this present time of 2025, we don't have planet agents within our Empire Morocco activist and revolutionary circle. And sorry for my voice. I'm just
teach.
That's just
Let the
the way I
spirit
am.
roll. Let the spirit roll.
Keep it hard.
This is criminal by itself. Because we have an agent within our circle that's been gatekeeping. Oh, we're going to get to that. Go ahead and please go to the modern politics, please, Speaker of the House.
Modern politics and media sometimes face accusations that certain figures or outlets act as controlled opposition, pretending to challenge the status quo while maintaining it. 3, psychological and strategic purpose. Controlled opposition serves several strategic goals: containment, kept resistance within safe boundaries; delegitimization, make real opposition seem extreme or disorganized; data gathering, identify and track descendants; narrative control, steer public discourse into controlled or less threatening directions.
No point of interest. On the Monday night calls, Speaker, wasn't we told that we needed to bring somebody in to organize us because we were unorganized?
Islam, we were.
Mm-hmm. And wasn't we told on the Monday night calls that we all emotional? We're just extreme. We're just all emotions. You guys see the blueprint that this individual was using? See, we found the blueprint. Now, in video 175, I want to point out at the beginning part of the video, it's 2 new banners in there. Did the people buy that? Did Hightower Security buy it? Or was it the money that was stolen from the people who left AMPAC 2.0 and the AMPAC officials? Was that money given to those two banners? Who spent the money on those 2 banners? Because we got officials on this call whose money been taken, right or wrong.
Right.
Through the
Correct.
Treasury.
Correct.
Or did he buy the banners himself? Which once again, see, he's controlling, certain people are controlling the narrative and say, I bought it, it's mine. I take it when I want to take it, it's mine. Oh, we're going to stop you if you kill from the database. Oh, Speaker of the House, we're gonna shut you out, not put you on email chains to give you because we know you ain't down with AMPAC 2.0. This is what psychologically he's done, that those oppositions have done to our people from a legal standpoint, a political standpoint. Right? I'm reading a political document, a legal document that happens every day in countries and politics. This is not something that we made up. In everyday use, number 4.
In everyday use, outside of formal politics, the term is also used rhetorically. Sometimes to accuse someone being fake opposition, especially in conspiracy or activist circles. However, such accusations should be approached cautiously, as they can be used to discredit genuine dissent without proof. Would you like me to explain how to identify signs of controlled opposition in political or organizational movements? Here are some of the key signs and methods to help identify possible controlled opposition within political, social, and organizational movements. 1, the movement never produces real change. A classic indicator is when a group appears active, loud, and well organized, yet nothing concrete ever changes. They might hold rallies and make headlines, but achieve no reform. Channel people's frustration into symbolic acts instead of strategic action. Constantly fight without measurable progress. The purpose is to keep people occupied and pacified while real power structures remain untouched. 2, over-focused on drama or division. Controlled opposition often stirs internal conflicts or distracts people from their true goals. Watch for leaders attacking each other instead of addressing issues, endless debates over minor disagreements, factionalism and ego battles that fragment unity. The purpose is to divide and weaken genuine resistance so it can mobilize effectively. 3, access to maintain platforms. Be wary when a supposed anti-system group gets excessive media coverage or favorable exposure from established outlets. Real grassroots movements are often censored, ignored, and misrepresented. Controlled opposition is sometimes amplified to create a false sense of representation. The purpose, give the public an illusion that dissent is allowed and being heard, when in fact it's being guided. 4, hidden or contradictory funding. Follow the money. A movement claiming to be independent but funded by A movement claiming to be independent but funded by government grants, corporate sponsors, think tanks with elite ties is highly suspect. Financial transparency is essential. Lack of it is a warning sign. Purpose. Funding ensures loyalty and allows silent control through dependency.
Oh, point of interest. Hey, man, I got you. Let me give you, I got you, man. I know you're struggling a little bit. You ain't sold no houses. I got you. Let me give you, let me go ahead. Let me take care of your phone bill for you. No, 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 no. I got it. I'll get all the, I'll buy the banners. I'll take care of it. Silent control with money. But they most definitely have not been very transparent with people's money at AMPAC. AMPAC, is any AMPAC officials on there? What's happening to your due? What's happening to your taxation? Has anybody been transparent with what's going to happen with your taxation over there? Has anybody?
No.
Oh, okay. Man, now, speaker, you understand when you read number 5, somebody's face getting ready to pop up. Go ahead and read number 5. Speaker, please.
The leadership is untouchable or unaccountable.
Oh, stop. Now, who face just popped up in front of you, speaker?
J. Jermaine Bay.
Mm, mm, mm. You better open up your windows and light a candle, y'all. The leadership is untouchable and unaccountable. You're not going to send me through no investigation and suspend me. And I'm not going to take accountability for anything that I've ever said or did. And I'm not going to take accountability from recusing myself from a case and then going back and speaking upon the case because I wear many different hats. Watch yourself, speaker, because you're getting ready, that face getting ready to pop up again as you continue to go
on. Control opposition leaders often appear charismatic but avoid scrutiny. Surround themselves with loyal inner circles. Dismiss or attack critics within the movement. If leadership refuses transparency or suppresses questioning, it may be controlled or at least be compromised. 6, narrative limitation. The opposing might avoid addressing the root cause of the problem, redirect attention towards safe and irrelevant topics, and offer half-truths that maintain the system's legitimacy. For example, they might criticize corruption but never question the structure that enables it. 7, timing and messaging patterns. Pay attention to when messages are released. If in opposition's groups talking points appear to diffuse rising public anger or conveniently align with the establishment's agendas at key points. That's a red flag. That's a red flag of orchestration. 8, the gatekeeper's effect. Some controlled opposition figures act as gatekeepers. They go right up to the edge of revealing deep truths, but never cross it. They control what they can talk about. They control what can be talked about, keeping discourse within acceptable limits. How to protect yourself from controlled opposition. Research the funding sources and affiliations. Watch for actions, not just words. Avoid personality cults. Support transparent leadership.
Hold on, speaker. My computer has just. Some odd reason it won't let me go down. My apologies.
All right.
But we get
support transparent leadership.
But we get the point. Who else was? This is where we get the gatekeeping from, because remember when Taj told us, and not speaking about Taj, but remember when Taj came out and he said, "Yeah, I probably spoke about 50. I probably told half of what I was supposed to be telling." But this is when people were bringing you in and telling you, "Oh man, you don't need any. We need governments. We don't need nationals." This is a position of gatekeeping. And then all of a sudden, all these different phases was being thrown at political groups forming. And then they had to go through a 2.0 for a political group forming. This is what we talk about, Morris. We have to understand the patterns of these individuals. It's the pattern of what they're trying to do by their. That's why they're in the definition of the controlled opposition. So how do we move forward? You guys can still see my screen, correct?
Yes, sir.
We have to move forward.
Point of interest.
Yes, please.
Don't mind real quick, AG. You gotta understand that, see, because controlled opposition is what is also known as counterintelligence program. COINTELPRO. This is not the first time that we've seen this as a people. The word, the concept is in the term. Controlled opposition. So what does the empire of Morocco represent? What are we in opposition to? Can someone give me an answer to that? What are we in opposition to? Think about it. Somebody give me an answer.
Colonization.
Of being colonized.
Okay. But specifically against who?
Impact 2.0. There's seditious
No.
factions.
Obstructionists.
No. Who?
Obstructionists.
No.
The European.
Yes, but no. You're getting closer. When you say Europeans, you're getting closer. The United States.
United States. Yes.
The United States. The empire is in opposition of the United States. So Bump J. Bay, he's just a face. He's a personality. He's a federal informant. The federal informant that took down George Hampton under controlled opposition was irrelevant. It's not about that informant. Who and what is it about? It's about the handler. Who is the handler? The FBI, the CIA. It could even be Mossad. It could be MI6. It could be all of them. That's the opposition. So the face of that opposition, as it relates to our battle, is J Bay and Impact 2.0. But who matters most is not some damn J Bay. He is a minion, and he has minions. Dope boy Camden being one of his. The real issue is we are under attack by the FBI. This is what we need to understand. The FBI has their hands in what we got going on here. Period. From its inception. He did not start this movement. He likes to say that. He did not start this movement. The movement was started by Zachariah and Akira. They had 200 more by the time this secret agent man showed up. He coup d'etat them. Then it became AMPAC 1.0 under Daoud. He coup d'etat that. Controlled opposition. He moved them out of the way and keeps moving people out of the way. We're just placeholder. You're just a placeholder, sir. Okay, so who is getting ready to replace me and why? And if I'm a placeholder, then all of you are placeholders. Who's getting ready to replace all of us and why? Oh, that's the question to ask. Who and why? Who is replacing us and why? So we have three statuses in international law. Someone please tell me, come off mute and tell me the three statuses according to Resolution 1541. I'm listening. Somebody knows.
We're subject
Would it say sovereign
international.
You've got you've got you've got the sovereign and independent.
One.
Then you have the then you have the sovereign independent.
We went through one of them already as black people. We went through one of them as black people in the civil rights movement, integration. And what's the other one, good brother? North Star.
Association with a sovereign nation.
Yeah, free association. That's the status we're going to end up under.
Like Puerto
It ain't
Rican.
gonna be integration. Well, yeah, but here's another example that's more close to home. Empress Verdici of the Washington Nation, the Washington Empire. Her granddaughter was put in a trick bag. That empire that had gotten a lot of caught a lot of traction dealing with the United Nations ended up under a 501c3 under controlled opposition. So the idea is to control the opposition. What's the opposition? The Empire of Morocco is in opposition to the United States of America, in which they must pay taxes in a circumstance under which we are the absolute sovereigns with all the power and authority, and it's being undermined by J. Bay, AMPAC 2.0, Moorish Gov, DMT, the feds. When have you ever known someone to catch a federal felony charge and not do time? Oh, what is the agreement, Mr. Spencer, Jermaine, Diaz, Spencer, Agent Spencer? Disregard me. I don't care about me. The slander attacks is not against Abdul the man. The slander attacks is against the office of the Sultan. Oh, that's a different story. We got to protect the office of the Sultan. Because if the office of the Sultan is disrespected, then there is no authority to the Sultan, which means there is no authority to the empire, which means there's no authority to the people. I yield.
Islam. So what's our next steps? Our next steps is right here. And this same notice will be sent to you all. And you all will take this notice and you'll put it on your social media pages. And you'll put it on the whatever site this is, the Moorish Gov. But I'll read this notice from a legal perspective. Once again, everything that we're going to do from the Empire of Morocco, we're going to read the documents We're going to overstand their documents. Then we're going to come from a legal perspective. And within this documentary read, we're still going to give them what you call due process of law. Islam?
Islam.
Even though we know they're already guilty. Once again, George Floyd killer was already guilty in the eyes of the people, but he still was giving due process. Empire of Morocco, by the grace of the Almighty and the will of the people, Office of the Attorney General, declaration of defamation and breach of dignity, dated on November 2nd of 2025. By order of His Majesty Abdul Smith Al-Kabir, Sultan and Sovereign of the Empire of Morocco, Custodian of the Empire of Morocco, seal and guardian of faith. This declaration is hereby issued to address a grave act of defamation, public insult, moral breach directed towards the Sultan of the Empire of Morocco and his son by individuals operating under the name, quote unquote, Moorish Gov at dempty.gov.2025 and quote unquote Moors underscore on the rise underscore. The Empire of Morocco affirms that any false or malicious publication aimed at discrediting the Sultan or members of the Sultan's family constitute not only a personal affront, but a constitutional violation of dignity and unity of the empire. The sanctity of the Sultan household shall not be infringed upon by rumor, falsehood, or slander. Accordingly, the Office of the Attorney General and the High Council of Justice are instructed to open an inquiry into the authorship and intent of the defamatory publication. The party identified shall be summoned to issue a full retraction and apology within 7 days of the notice. The party identified shall be summoned to issue a full retraction and public apology within 7 days of the notice. Is that called due process of law, Moors?
Yes.
How many days do they have?
7.
Yeah, it's
7 days.
But at the end of the day, we know that they're not going to do it. So we're going to continue on with our ongoing investigation to allow them to continue to incriminate themselves. Failure to comply will result in sanctions, including public censure, suspension of privileges, and permanent designation as a persona non grata to the Empire of Morocco. This degree is entered into the Empire Register and stands as a symbol of our commitment to truth, honor, and justice within the Empire of Morocco, given under our hand and seal at the Empire of Morocco, the 2nd day of November, 2025, by the order of the Attorney General on behalf of the Sultan, Abdul Smith Al-Kabir. Respectfully submitted, Kanye Bey, Office of the Attorney General, Empire of Morocco. We will post this notice within our Telegram, and with the permission of the Sultan, which he's already given permission, you guys will post this on these social media outlets or into this Moorish Gov. So they'll be notified, as well as I'm going to email this notice to them, and they'll be notified that they have 7 days to retract whatever statements that they need. They'll be emailed today. Does anybody have any questions or comments about what we just read?
Point of privilege, Consul General DQSR. I'm not surprised that they stooped this low. Due process will reach them. I yield.
Point of interest. What I like to add on to everything that AG has been putting on the table is how to move from here on out. When we're dealing, whether some of you may believe or not, he's an actual agent or not. It's quite clear that if he is an actual agent or not, whether the case may be that or not, his ego is the agent, and this won't stop. So what am I saying? How we need to move needs to be real particular, because what they're trying to do is create themselves a case. And that could be off to the slightest degree in which that any one of us may move from here on out. So they don't have a leg to stand on, but they would love to create a leg to stand on. So from here on out is pretty much we have to be again real particular with our moves. We have to be less emotional, right? Less responsive. There's a certain confidence that not only we have to build within ourselves, but for the people. What do I mean by that? People want to see due process. People want to see evidence. That's how you get security, right? Okay, we've produced so much evidence, right? We also have to exercise the other side of things, the due process, in which we have been. But for the sake of the public's eye and ourselves, we have to move in a particular way, because these people, again, are trying to find the crevice spaces and create a world within that. Okay, so as it relates to social media, I would take more screenshots than anything, than engagement. Unless it's people who obviously are looking to start a state, that's a different story. But as it relates to the Impact 2.0 situation, we have to be strategic in how we're moving with this. No, we cannot ignore it holistically, but we have to a degree in order to move forward, right? So in order to move forward, we have to move strategically. Less is more, right? Less response, etc. Because we don't want to create them. We don't want to give them a world that we've created due to just unnecessarily expressing ourselves. And if we are expressing ourselves, it's going to be through a law, through a proclamation, through a policy, through a whatever, through actual due process to show, right? Because that's where it counts. We already got ahead of it with the United Nations, sending certain documentations to certain parties. And we got to continue to do this to close the lid. Right now, we're in a cycle within a cycle, and we have to complete this smaller cycle that's within a cycle. So we're coming to the closing of that. But we have to, less is more. Less is more. We have to be poised with our posts, with our information, because again, we have to balance not only this situation, but the rest of everything else we have to balance out when it comes to the people's eye, right? Our progression with the proper parties, period, right? Other organizations such as the EU, the AU, etc. Right? We all of this matters as it relates to us reaching out to these organizations in a certain time and manner. It's a real it'll be real confusing if most of our information to show for it this time seems to be information where the average person would have to decide who is who, instead of coming in with a strict poll, if you will, a strict principle, a clear principle with clear directions, etc. So we have to build up and balance out this identity for the empire, is what I'm getting to. Okay, and this happens by way of due process. So less is more, due process, and all the other ways in which we know we got to exercise the C-24, etc. Right? But with that, that's all I wanted to say. I yield with that.
Point of privilege.
Yep, Wiser Buck.
Yes, I couldn't find it, but as we were discussing all this, I was looking for, I read someplace to where it happened to the United States. And when they were starting their government, and it was said in this I think it was a book or a passage that in order to take control of a government, you have to get it in its beginning, in its beginning core. You have to get it there. So we're gonna be facing a lot of problems with these people. Uh, so we, like you said, we can't ignore it. We have to fight it. And in the end, there is no question in 1541, Article Principle 6, there should be no question at all about us choosing emerging as a sovereign, independent state. So there should be no question at all about choosing that. There should be no blunders about choosing nothing. That's what we're seeking. So yes, I'm gonna find it. I think it's called America's Biggest Blunders or America's something, like I can't remember. But yeah, and they talking about how the Feds, the FBI was actually started without, I mean, it wasn't United States uh citizens that started it. I forgot what government it was. I don't know. I think it was Russia or Germany or something like that. But they're the ones that actually started the FBI and a lot of this stuff. So I'll find it and I'll share it with you guys. But yeah, we have to no questions, or emerging as a sovereign, independent state. This is what's going to protect us.
And that's exactly what I am here to do. There's no other option, and he knows that.
Right.
I'm not the one.
Right.
I've already said it before. I will never allow any subordinate contract from no damn colonists. Now, let me say this real quick. Noble Ali was once quoted for saying, the Moors will get everything back in a conflict that cannot be expressed with words. That's this conflict. That's this conflict. A clash between the Moors. The converso to you all who you was yesterday. Yesterday, you see, Jermaine Diaz Spencer follows the bloodline of the Farrakhan's of the world and I ain't gonna say Farrakhan, it bothers some people. Let's say Jesse Jackson. The Moors who sold us out with New Andalusia in Spain. It's the same bloodline. So it's a conflict between the Moors and the United States as the opposition, the agents, the agencies, the FBI. Once we destroy AMPAC 2.0 and Jermaine Diaz Spencer, which we already are destroying them, I swear to God, decolonization is on the horizon. I yield.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying this for all us officials. We have to protect our sultan. Stand by him 100%. And we will defeat him. Don't let nobody slip in up under you or anything, but let's protect our sultan and let's be with him 100%. That's everybody.
Islam.
Long.
Can all my brothers and sisters see what's up on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as we continue to protect the Sultan and the empire, we also must continue to protect our nationals as well as our diplomatic officials. Am I right or wrong?
Islam.
How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to do that through the means of our consular notification and access that we were going to put together for the Empire of Morocco, as well as all internal states will have this, and then it will be passed into the law by the House for the internal states and the external state. We started our reading last week regarding this consular notification access. We're going to continue our reading. It's essential for the consul generals to understand the consular notification and access and how to protect our nationals within the Empire of Morocco as we are in contract obligations with the United States and the United States of America. Do I have any consul generals on the floor that will continue our reading from last week? Starting with basic instructions.
Yes, I'll
Okay.
continue to read.
And then when you read, everywhere where you see AMPAC, you're going to say your internal state. Whatever internal state you're with, that is where you're going to replace that AMPAC at. Islam?
Islam.
Okay.
Basic instructions. Summary of requirements pertaining to AMPAG nationals and protected persons. When AMPAG nationals or protected persons are arrested or detained, only in conformity with Moroccan laws, they shall, upon request, have their consular officers notified without delay of their arrest or detention, and shall have their communications to their consular officers forwarded without delay. In addition, AMPAG nationals and protected persons shall be advised of this information without delay. For AMPAG nationals, go ahead.
You kind of see me like you're far away, good brother, Kyrie.
Let me switch to the wired
okay.
headphones. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
AirPods and wireless.
Okay, can you hear me?
A lot better, good brother. A lot better.
Okay. For AMPAG nationals or protected persons, the consular officer shall be notified of the arrest or detention of AMPAG nationals or protected persons, even if the AMPAG national or protected person does not request or want notification. AMPAG consular officers are entitled to communicate with and to have access to their nationals and protected persons in detention and to provide consular assistance to them, including arranging for legal representation when, quote, American governmental organs and agents, end quote, become aware of the death, serious injury, or serious illness of AMPAG nationals, then consular officers shall be notified. When a guardian Morris trusteeship is being considered with respect to AMPAG nationals who is a minor or incompetent adult, then consular officers shall be notified. When AMPAG nationals have auto wrecks, shipwrecks, or aircraft crashes, then consular officers shall be notified. These are mutual obligations that also apply to AMPAG authorities when they arrest or detain, quote, Americans in the receiving state of AMPAG. In general, the American governmental organs and agents shall treat AMPAG nationals, diplomats, and protected persons as you would want Americans to be treated in a similar situation. This means prompt and courteous compliance with the above requirements.
An important interest. So we've always was taught that this consular notification and access was on how we protect ourselves. No, this consular notification and access, consul generals, goes towards what is your duties of your consul general's office when you're dealing with Americans. You are buying to this consular notification and access as well as they're buying to the consular notification and access. So you cannot be acting belligerent when you're dealing with an American national. You still must follow the norms of international law and also follow the norms of the consular notification and access once this is passed into Moroccan law. Islam?
Islam.
Islam.
Continue, Kyrie.
Basic instructions. Steps to follow when AMPAG nationals or protected persons are arrested or detained in conformity with Moroccan laws. 1. Determine the person's state of identification in the absence of other identification. Assume this is the state identification of the AMPAG national or protected persons. 2. If the AMPAG national or protected person's state is not on the list of mandatory notification, list states and jurisdictions. See page 4 for the list. Inform the AMPAG national without delay that he or she shall have his or her consular officers notified of the arrest or detention and shall communicate with them for suggested statement in several different languages. See Part 5 on pages 71 through 100 of this act. If the AMPAG national requests that his or her consular officers be notified, notify the nearest consul general of AMPAG without delay. The phone number and email address can be found on page 3 of this act or on the website at ampaggov.org. Forward any communication from the AMPAG national or protected persons to his or her consular officers without delay. 3. If any Moorish nationals is on the list of mandatory notification, list states. Notify the state without delay of the arrest or detention. Phone numbers and email addresses can be found on AMPAG website at ampaggov.org. Tell the Moroccan national that you are making this notification and inform him or her without delay that he or she shall communicate with his or her consular officers. A suggested statement to the AMPAG national in several different languages appears in Part 5 on pages 71 through 100 of this act. Forward any communication with the Moroccan national to his or her consular officers without delay. 4. Keep a written record. 4. Keep a written record of what information you provided the AMPAG national and when, the AMPAG national's request, if any, whether you notified consular officers, and if so, the date and time of notification, and the means that you use to notify them. Example, phone or email. If you used email to notify the consular officers, you shall retain the sent email in your records. Any other relevant actions taken. Is this the next page?
Yes.
Okay. Basic instructions. Mandatory notification list of Moroccan states, including the state of Allodium Moorish Pradium, Ante, Georgia, in the Empire of Morocco. Number 1, Allodium Moorish Pradium, Ante, Colorado, AMPAG. 2, Allodium Moorish Pradium of New Mecca. 3, Allodium Moorish Pradium, Ante, Georgia, AMPAG. 4, Maru State Republic, MSR. 5, Allodium Moorish Pradium, Ante, Michigan, AMPAM. 6, Demati Allodium, Morocco, Prius, Texas, DEMTI. 7, this list of Moroccan states is not exhaustive. All non-self-governing territories or trust territories and their inhabitants seeking to exercise their human rights pursuant to the Madrid Convention of July 3, 1880, Article 15, Section 1, the Charter of the United Nations of 1945, Article 73, and the UN Resolution 1514 of 1960, shall be entitled to do so through an act of declaration of independence and constitutional procedures, while the inhabitants, i.e. the indigenous Moors, are at varying stages of advancement to achieve recognized statehood status from other Moroccan states. Each non-self-governing territory shall come under the authority of the Convention in the Empire Wazir Regional Council and the WRC Trusteeship Council. The text of the convention can be found at www.wazirregionalcouncil.org. See Chapter 12, Regional Trusteeship System, and Chapter 13, the Regional Trusteeship Council in session. Note, the term Wazir Regional Council or Convention shall mean the same. The abbreviation of WRC or W.R.C shall mean the same. Whereas the WRC convention shall be known as a, quote, intergovernmental organization, end quote, on behalf of the Empire of Morocco and its member states, inter alia. Let me zoom out some. Okay. Arresting a national or protected persons in conformity with Moroccan law. Consular notification process. Question: are you a U.S. citizen? Answer: yes, I am a U.S. citizen. Or no, I am not a U.S. citizen. Question: are you a national of one of these states? One, Allodium Morris Pradium, Ante Colorado, AMPAC. Two, Allodium Morris Pradium of New Mecca, and AMPNW. Three, Allodium Morris Pradium, Ante Georgia, AMPAG. Four, Maru State Republic, MSR. Five, Allodium Morris Pradium, Ante Michigan, AMPAM. Six, Dia Demati, Allodium Morocco, Prius, Texas, DEMTI. Seven, the list of Moroccan states is not exhaustive. If the answer is yes, step one, inform the detainee that he or she shall communicate with the consul general and that you shall notify the consul general of arrest / detention. Two, step two, notify the consul general without delay. Step three, make record of notification in case file where email is sent. Keep confirmation of sent email. Step four, allow consular officers access to detainee if they subsequently request access. The answer is no. Inform the detainee without delay that he or she shall have consular general notified of arrest or detention. Do you want question? Do you want your consulate? It's kind of hard to read. And on the in all cases, bullet point one: do not inform consular general about the detainee's refugee or asylum status. Detainee shall communicate with consular officer and shall request consular access at any time, whether previously declined or not. Even if a detainee does not want to be visited, consular officers shall still have one face-to-face visit. Consular notification and access, CNA, AMPAC 501 S South Cherry Street, Suite 1100, Glendale, Colorado, 80246. Primary phone number 123-456 and contact.ampag.gov@gmail.
Thank you, good brother. So what must we do, Council Generals? One of the key things what they talk about is keeping records. So as a Council General, you have to get your files organized. Oh, let me get this thing out of the way here. So what do we have here? We have a drive, okay? But not only do I have a drive, you should have a drive. So all Council Generals should have a drive of what's happening within their offices. You have to become organized. Okay? So what do as the Attorney General, I got to be organized for the SALT. I got to be organized for the Prime Minister, and I got to be organized for the Speaker. I got to know basically pretty much everything that's going on within the empire. Okay? So as you can see here, we have AMPAC 2.0 fraud proceedings, AMPAC study session folders, Attorney General contractual agreements, Attorney General's private folder, confidentiality agreements, Council General study sessions, okay? So when you click on the Council General study sessions, okay, you can see that every Council General study session that we've ever did is particularly in this folder. Are you guys looking at this?
Yes.
It's making sense. Okay. So I gotta make sure, because my position as an Attorney General is a position of appointment. You are appointed. Basically, appointment means performance-based. You're performance-based consul generals. So if you can't get organized within your files, if you can't get organized within your offices, how can you assist any of your nationals? We have everything from decolonization folder, denationalization folder, EOM removal letters. Okay, so we go in here. If the Sultan says, "Hey, Consul Attorney General, I need this removal notice," do I have all the removal notices? I have removal notices. So when we talk about filing, you absolutely need to be organized within everything that you do, but everything is basically within a folder. Correspondence to the United Nations. Let's see what's in this folder. The State of the Empire Address, United Nations correspondence. There's folders for everything that's going on within the Empire of Morocco from an Attorney General standpoint. But then I can say, well, hey, I had another email address. So let's go to the files over here. Let's see if I still kept my. So here go my drive and my other email address. And this email address was consulgeneral.kanyebay@eom.com. So even when I was in a consul general, I had it to have folders. So you guys see these internal folders? AMPAG state folder, AMPAC state folder, assistant, a template, DEMT state folders, human resources file, ISR state folders, Meru state folders, right? Then you'll see some specific names of cases that we had, recusal letters, Sultan's letters, right? So some of the Sultan's letters that the Sultan has put together, I have them basically in the file, just in case he was to ask me, okay, Consul General, do you have this letter? I can go back into the file. Is that making sense to everyone?
Yes, sir.
And this is what we talk about. This goes back to what we were talking about, the hours that you put in. The sacrifices that you make. And the hours that you put in and the sacrifices that you make. Well, sometimes, the sacrifice is, hey, man, I may get behind personally in some things because I'm doing this process of decolonization. And this is when your brothers and sisters are supposed to be able to pick you up because we're all basically in this fight together. But we also have to protect each other. And one of the key ways on how we protect each other is, number one, is by being organized, consul generals. You're going to deal with more than what a lot of officers are going to deal with. You're constantly dealing with the law. Is there people getting arrested every day?
Yep.
Is there accidents every day on the road? There's people getting killed every day. So when you decided to take this position, where if your wazir is breaking the law within your internal state constitution, what must you do, consul generals, if that wazir, if you have proof that wazir, that head of state, is breaking constitutional laws? If that head of state is sleeping with every woman that comes through his office, and he already has a consort, there's some type of constitutional law that he's breaking. Are you just going to say, well, no, man, that's my brother, man, or are you going to go to the Constitution for your answers?
Have to stay neutral and go to the Constitution above all else.
Correct. You have to stay independent. your office becomes independent consul generals. Now, does that mean that you don't have anybody to answer to? No. Let's get that correct. Your boss is the prime minister, and your boss is the wazir,
Islam.
consul generals. Does that make sense?
Islam. Point of interest.
Yes.
I hope this doesn't sound like a stupid question.
Nothing is,
But
bro.
with I guess it's my frame of thinking. I would be thinking that would be more something private. So how does that intertwine with the, I guess, being associated with having to deal with the Constitution? How would that go in line together? Which is good. I like that because it is there should be a certain structure to things.
Correct.
Because you are in a position of leadership, so I agree with that. But help me to have more of an understanding of that, please.
Well, you just
yield.
already said it, Mike. You're in a position of leadership.
Yep, you did. You answered. You kind of answered
You
your own
answered your question
there.
already. You're in a
Okay.
position of leadership within that internal and that external state constitution. Is certain things that governor has to be. Is certain things that he has to uphold, which is that leadership position, and then
Islam.
being the example for his people.
Islam.
And this is one of the big reasons. I'm so glad you asked that, because this is one of the big reasons where the Nation of Islam did not have any constitutional values when Elijah. Remember when Elijah Muhammad was caught doing what he was doing. Does that make sense?
Oh, Islam, and that's why I was thinking about that also. Islam.
Correct, right? So they had no constitutional value. They had nothing that was written into law stating that he could not be going out fornicating with all these younger women, right? While he was still being a married man within the Nation of Islam. So he was able to get off on that premises. But at the end of the day, what does the Sultan always say? What about your character? You get what I'm saying, Mike? What
Islam.
about your character? Your character is everything.
Islam. That's very true. Very true.
Okay. So what's happened, Mike, is that number one, nobody likes the lawyer or a top cop, right or wrong. So especially when the lawyer's against them. So when the Sultan wrote the affidavit of constitutional breach and sedition, let me ask you guys a question. Who automatically went into black to the nation? Who was automatically an enemy to the nation at that time? When the Sultan said this must be investigated and you guys are suspended and this must be an exhaustive investigation, who went into the black?
The consul general.
The Sultan.
Nope, not the Sultan.
Consul General?
The Consul Generals.
Yeah, Consul
Independent
General.
office.
Yeah.
That's the independent office. They went into, we were supposed to go into the black. But at the time, to let you guys know, the only two brothers that really stepped up, and Kyrie can contest to this, Kyrie, did I not send out a text message saying, we have to remain impartial. Please do not get swayed. Did I not send that text message out to everybody?
Yes.
And in that whole process, I think it was, and Boomy can contest too, there were 5 or 6 of us. One of the consul generals removed himself from the consul general group chat, so we knew he couldn't be impartial. The other consul general stated on the record says, I'm going to remove myself from this investigation. Am I right or wrong, Kyrie?
Yes.
And it was only me, Kyrie, and Boomy. And before we could even get to work, Kyrie left and went to Jamaica. So it was just me and Boomy. And before we can even get to work, 2 days later, they came out with a so-called impeachment on the Sultan, these bad actors. So they said, forget about due process. Does that make sense? But what were they actually afraid of, you think, Brother Mike? What do you actually think? Why didn't they let the due process go through the Department of Consul Generals?
Point of interest. I'm going to say because it would expose them.
Islam, yeah, the corruption.
Correct.
They would
And
no longer be government officials.
Correct. So at that point, they said, forget about shutting the government down for 14 days. Okay. I'm going to read something to you guys. Please be patient. Because this is on how the Department of Consul Generals, on how we went into black. And we were not allowed to do our jobs because people were running. And if you were in the PO committee, you will take in mind that this email was this was presented in the PO committee. Hold on one second. And once this was presented, the people I stated within the PO committee email that we would shut down, that please do not respond to anything for 14 days. And when I did that within the PO committee group chat, there was a response from the Judge J. Bay. Cicero, do you have that response?
Former
Judge J.
judge.
Bay. I got it salted, I promise. Former Judge J. Bay. Cicero, do you have that response when I said we would shut down the PO committee for 14 days?
yeah, I was gonna say it was a text message, not an email.
Yeah, it's a text message. Do you have that response, Kyrie?
Yes.
Can you please read that? Now, take in mind that at this time, he was in the PO committee. The Consul Generals, you have to understand, he was in the PO committee, which he shouldn't even really be in that committee. So once I said, please shut everything down for the next 14 days while we're investigating, he responded to this, and understanding that our office was an independent office at this time. Let me know if you find it, brother.
I have it.
Okay. Go ahead and read his response to the Consul General, to the head Consul General of the Empire, knowing that my office fell into an independent status once the Sultan put an investigation on the table. Let's hear what the judge had to say.
Okay, so I'll just start from the very first minute. So Thursday, October 2nd at 8:40 a.m. You said all communication from the PO group chat will be on hold for 14 days. Please email all correspondence to me personally, acting head consul general. And then Chief J. Bay responded, acting head consul general, I do not recall the prime minister or the minister of foreign affairs stating anything about your so-called powers to inform members of this committee to cease communications. Your notice is not authorized until the prime minister or the minister of foreign affairs gives notice as to the status of this committee. Until such time, no one in this committee has to adhere to your directives. Unfortunately, you are not the competent authority to make such a directive. We'll wait until the prime minister weighs in. Until then, your notice is mute.
Okay. Now, this is the judge saying this within the PO committee to the head consul general, who office is independent, and he kept mentioning the prime minister. And at the time, the prime minister was up under what, people?
Investigation.
So he had no authority at the time, because my office is still independent. And the person that oversees the prime minister is who? What's his name?
The Sultan Al-Kabir.
The Sultan, who put the prime minister under investigation and suspension. So I was following directives from who?
Sultan.
The Sultan. So this is dark. Consul generals, understand your positions within the government. But the former Judge Jay Bay understood it. But he was trying to stop the investigation was going on through the what? Through the prime minister, who was particularly his puppet. But the prime minister had no authority at the time because he was already up under suspension per October 1st, right or wrong. What date was that notice? What date was that email?
The text message was on October 2nd.
Okay. When did the prime minister and the Judge Jay Bay go under investigation? What date?
Wednesday, October 1st.
So both of them wasn't supposed to be speaking on any matters, right or wrong, Morris?
That's correct.
Okay. Part 2, detailed instructions of the treatment of AMPAG nationals. If you are a federal, state, or local law enforcement, judicial, or other government official, you shall follow the instructions in this manual whenever you are taking official actions relating to AMPAG nationals. These instructions pertain the arrest of detention of AMPAG nationals, the appointment of guardians for AMPAG nationals who are minors or incompetent adults. What is an incompetent adult?
Someone that's not able to fully function or think for themselves.
Correct. Also, per the United States, I don't know if you know this, anyone up under 25 years old is really in alignment as being an incompetent adult. How old do you got to be before they give you an opportunity to go rent a car?
25.
25.
21. Oh,
you got to be 25 years old. So basically what they're saying in the United States is anybody before the age of 25 is defined to us as an incompetent adult. Number 3, death of or serious injuries to AMPAG nationals or protected persons inter alia in the foreign territory. And 4, crashes of AMPAG aircraft or wrecks of AMPAG ships in the foreign territory. These instructions also addresses issues pertaining to the provisions of consular services by AMPAG consular officers to AMPAG nationals in the foreign territory. They are intended to ensure that AMPAG governments can extend appropriate consular services to their nationals in the foreign territory, and at the United States foreign territory shall comply with its legal obligations to such governments. So even in this consular notification and access, it's stating to you, Moors, that you also oversee the land, but you also oversee what else? Come on, Consul Generals.
water,
Correct.
air.
Is there air law?
Yes.
Okay. There's sea law, air law, and land law. So when you decided to take this position as a Consul General, you have to know all the laws of the air, the land, as well as the sea. This was no light position to take, Consul Generals. Basically defining yourselves as the ultimate whistleblowers when people are breaching the laws. The instructions in this act shall be based on international legal obligations designed to ensure that states can assist their nationals who live and travel throughout the Moorish Empire abroad. While these obligations are in part matters of the customary international law, most of these are set forth in the 1963 Vienna Convention on Consular Relations. But what was before that, Consul Generals? What was before the VCCR of 1963?
The Convention on Diplomatic Relations.
Which is what year?
1960, I believe. Was it
1961.
61, yeah.
You're right there. 1961. because you got to be able to protect the diplomats before you protect the national. You got to be able to protect the state before you protect the nationals, right or wrong.
Right.
Now, a self-taught individual told us that we should be sending preliminary ejections on behalf of the internal states. Is that not what was we sending preliminary ejections on behalf of the internal states? For how long? I'm gonna let I'll let the Prime Minister answer that. How long, Prime Minister, were we sending preliminary ejections from the internal states?
For years.
Correct. So did those preliminary ejections that we were sending from the internal states, did they have any standing?
Nope.
Regarding diplomatic officials? Why not?
Because out of order. First, you have to have the diplomats protected first.
Through where?
Through the Empire of Morocco.
Correct. So we were sending preliminary ejections from the internal states for years. Which, if I'm talking about protecting a diplomat, those preliminary ejections were supposed to be coming from where? The internal state, from the Empire of Morocco. So then you guys wonder why we were not getting any responses. Because we were talking about nationals, we were talking about diplomats and internal state diplomats. We weren't talking about diplomats, but also putting those diplomats up under protections from the empire. This was a clerical error based upon us being in fellowship and based upon another individuals that didn't have any tutoring or mentorship that was trying to teach us. So the individual that was trying to teach us about international law didn't have any mentorship to teach him on how to be a judge. Am I right? Am I right or wrong, Morris?
Absolutely correct.
So this individual was trying to teach us. He had no experience on how to be a judge, which we see that right now today. But then he was coming around trying to teach us international law. And wasn't this the same individual that told us to absolutely use the United States lawyers? Who on this call that had a case, I don't know if there's anybody on this call, but he was telling us to use what? The United States barristers with the preliminary ejection. Do you recall that, Sultan and Prime Minister?
Public defender.
He was telling us to use the public defender, the barristers.
Correct.
And who does the public defender actually really work for?
The courts.
The courts.
They work for the court. They work for the courts. So when we were giving them the preliminary ejections, what do you think that they were doing with the preliminary ejections, Daryl Bay? Consul General Daryl? If he's still on the call. Consul General Harry, what do you think that they were doing with those preliminary ejections when we were giving it to the public defenders, i.e. barristers of the United States Court?
Yeah, ultimately disregarding them.
They were disregarding them. They was telling people that we didn't have anything on the record. Now, I may touch a sensitive subject with some of y'all, and I'm sorry. This is on how, and I don't know if the Sultan thought about this. I don't know if the Prime Minister thought about this. This is on how Jordan went to jail. I went back. Jordan went to jail because we kept trying to protect him from the internal state of Dempsey. Do you recall this, Sultan and Prime Minister?
Correct.
I do, of course. Yes, sir.
We had nothing on the record from the Empire of Morocco regarding a preliminary ejections on behalf of Jordan coming from the Empire of Morocco. We had no 3.0. Everything was coming from the internal state of Dempsey that had two other individuals that had drug cases. And they said, oh, we're not letting this one get away. This was a major clerical error. It was a major clerical error. And I don't remember Kyrie. Kyrie, remember in that text message? He yelled at everybody in the text message. And he says, you failed, Consul General. You failed, Mansur Bey. Remember that? We failed, PO committee.
I don't know if I was added at that
I don't think
point.
you were added at that time. But our brother was given 8 to 10 years, due to do 30. But given 8 to 10 years, because once again, clerical errors by self-taught people. Those preliminary objections and documents should have been coming from the Empire of Morocco, should have been coming from the MSCC and the MCC. And Jordan went to jail before J. Bay was sworn in. Am I right or wrong, Sultan?
All right.
To fully deactivate the Moorish State Consular Court as well as the Moorish Consular Court. Jordan was supposed to have been taken care of by the empire, not by the internal state of Dempsey. And this is why we're reading this document based upon the fact that if this document would have been presented 4 years ago when we started working on this, they didn't want to present this to the empire and to the Sultan because this particular document is protecting who? Who is it mainly protecting? It starts with an N.
This is protecting the nationals.
See? So that means that everybody that was coming into the empire would have had to take national status. And per this document being into law, that would have made us obligated to protect them nationals within the Empire of Morocco. So what they did was stalled you out on the consular notification and access because you guys can see that we had been, this was already worked on, right or wrong, Morris?
Right.
We had already been working on this for 4 years, and I was behind the scenes saying, hey, when are we going to put this in? And then I was teaching it, and then Dre comes back and say, well, yeah, just hold off on that. So we got brothers and sisters out here getting hurt because we're too busy gatekeeping. And we didn't want to bring this consular notification and access to life for our people to protect our nationals within the Empire of Morocco. This makes no sense to me at all. And I apologize to you all because I was behind the scenes trying to push these things. But I was trying to push it to the wrong people. I was talking to Dre. I was talking to Chad. I was talking to the AMPAC people that was in the internal saying, man, have y'all sent this to the House members, this consular note? Y'all, we want to hold off on that yet. We don't want to hold off on that. We need to concentrate on statehood. And the statehood process was enabling our people, and they still wasn't getting national status. Our people were waiting 3-4 years to get national status. But this document would have made them fully obligated to give you your nationality without the statehood process. Because this document states we have protections for you. Am I making sense?
I agree. I hear you. I get it.
A multilateral treaty to which the United States of America and the United States International Organizations, more than 170 other states are party, Other obligations are contained in the bilateral agreements, quote unquote, sometimes called conventions or treaties. The Act of Algeciras of 1906. These are legally binding agreements between the United States and one other state. Treaties such as the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations and Consular Conventions are binding on federal, state, and local government officials to the extent they pertain to matters within such officials' competence as a matter of international law and the U.S. Constitution, which states that all treaties are the supreme law of the land and every judge is bound by the treaties. All treaties made shall be the supreme law of the land. Article 6, Clause 2. So when we started talking about the 1906 Act of Algeciras, certain individuals already knew about the 1906 Act of Algeciras way before it was ever even presented to us. These Moroccan laws and instructions focus primarily on providing consular notification and access with respect to MAPAG nationals arrested or detained in a foreign territory, so their Moorish governments can assist them. The obligations of consular notification and access apply to the United States citizens and MAPAG state, just as they apply to MAPAG nationals in a foreign territory. When the United States citizens are arrested or detained in the jurisdiction of Elodium Morsperidium Ante, Georgia, the United States Department of State seeks to ensure that they are treated in a manner consistent with these Moroccan laws and instructions, and that United States quasi-consular officers can similarly assist them. It is therefore particularly important that the United States of America, see, now they're getting right back. See, now they went into corporate entity with what, Consul Generals? Do not answer what is their corporate entity called?
United States.
Okay, what is their treaty entity called?
United States
of America.
You see on how they jump in and out of the jurisdiction? The United States of America and the United States, its organs, contingent. See, now, don't we talk about them like that? Don't we say the United States and the United States of America? They'd be like, well, don't say that about we. Why are you talking like that? Well, your consular notification and access is talking to you like that. We only address it, how you address yourself. The United States of America and the United States, the organs, continuing charter states, body corporate, international organization, organs of the international organization, the municipal corporation, charters, persons, agents, officials, comply with these obligations with respect to MAPAG nationals in the Empire of Morocco per the bilateral Treaty of Peace and Friendship 1836, Articles 20 and 21, the Multilateral Treaty of 1880, Articles 7, 8, and 15, and the Multilateral Act of Algeciras 1906, Articles 23, 101, 102, 105, and 123, inter alia. These Moroccan laws and instructions also discuss obligations relating to the appointment of guardians of MAPAG nationals or protected persons within the Empire of Morocco who are minors or so-called incompetent adults to the death or serious injuries to and serious illness of MAPAG nationals within the Empire of Morocco and to the accidents involving MAPAG's aircraft or ships, like the obligations of consular notification and access for arrest and detention cases. These are mutual obligations that also apply abroad. The state of MAPAG in the Empire of Morocco appreciates the continued cooperation of the foreign United States of America, the United States, its organs, constituent charters, body corporates, international organizations, organs of international organizations, municipal corporations, charters, persons, agents, officials, quasi local law enforcement agencies, correction officials, prosecutor, members of the judiciary, and other government officials in helping to ensure AMPAC nationals within the Empire of Morocco in the United States are treated in accordance with these instructions. Such treatment shall permit the United States to comply with its legal obligations domestically and to continue to expect rigorous compliance by AMPAC governments within the Empire of Morocco with respect to U.S. citizens abroad. Islam? This document was held from you. Stopped our brothers and sisters from claiming our nationalities. We had nothing written into law saying that we had to give you your nationalities. This document right here states you have to have your what? Nationality. The prophet said, if you don't do anything, claim your what? Nationality. Did the prophet say, if you don't do anything, claim, make sure you start statehood? That's not what he said. Before their statehood, before anything, you have to claim your nationality and then allow your state to protect you as a national. So this study material here is for the council generals to take this material back to their wazirs. You got a lot of studying to do, council generals. We got a lot of studying to do. Every single week. This is a 130-page document. This is not my first time reading it. I thought that they were going to present this to the empire in 2022. Present it to the people in 2022. When the Sultan when the Sultan signed the Constitution, I said, okay, now this can come into effect. Here we are, 2 years later. And it's never even, has anybody ever seen this document? Has anybody ever seen this document for presentation? Sultan, have you seen this document for presentation before? Have they ever brought this document?
They've never talked about that before. I don't recall seeing that, no. We talked
What
about
you, Akil?
consular notification and actions, but not for the Empire of Morocco.
Okay, what about you, Prime Minister, who was the Vice Prime at the time?
No, we've never discussed this.
Mm-hmm. You see, it's all broke down. Because this was if they presented this to you, this was a way on how they could not gatekeep anymore. It would have been something on the record stating we must have nationals and we are obligated to protect our nationals. I know it's about 11 after the hour. We went through a lot of information. I'm going to open up the floor for any questions or comments regarding this particular consular notification document. And I know we have the privilege of having the Sultan on the call. This is the first time that the Sultan has been on my Council General call in, I would probably say 3-4 years. So we have the privilege of him being on the call. So if anybody, hopefully he does not mind, if anybody has anything for the Sultan, the Prime Minister, or myself, or the Minister of Foreign Affairs, or the Chief Judge, or the House member, hopefully nobody minds. The floor is open at this time for any questions, comments, or concerns.
I do have a question here. Just more so in regards to the Empire Morocco, the EON website. Is that no longer, will we be looking to establish a separate website, or what will be the process for that? Or do we have any information on that currently? That's my question.
I'll let the speaker, the Prime, and the Sultan answer that question.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
Yes, just in regards to the the EOM website. Is there going to be a new website that we'll be looking to have established, or what's the process for it? Because I don't believe we have access to it because I don't see the Sultans on there any longer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll definitely have a new website. Um, that'll be something we'll have to capitalize on and not in such an extreme way as we did last time because it was a long and drawn out process, an unnecessary process last time. But yeah, that's definitely will be something we'll have to capitalize on. Right now, we're more concerned about the internal weight as far as reaching out to the proper parties. So that's really what we're more concerned about more than anything. But yeah, the website will definitely come with the links to the proper inaugurations, etc. So yeah, that'll definitely come here. And I would say actually once we get the proper people in the WRC, the proper people in the Department of Media and Communications, especially, then we can focus on the website and things of that nature. And again, that'll be coming soon.
Okay, got it. Thank you for that clarification. I yield.
Islam point of interest. What about when we had the Moore School? Is that something we're gonna continue on with brother Edward Lightfoot L, or did he stay over there with them 2.0 imposters or whatnot? I yield.
As far as Brother Lightfoot L, I haven't spoken with him directly. It's been a few weeks. I do know that he was pretty much aware of all the BS that was going on and the unconstitutional things. To my knowledge, he did express some opinions with other officials in the
Edward
empire,
is
but
compromised. He's just absolutely
compromise.
compromised.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, that's that. But say just to build on top of that, um, there are other officials in consideration to assist us in the several ways that he did, but not doing the exact same thing. We won't be working on open project and several unnecessary things that we don't need to be exercising, but we do have other people in consideration to take us in those same ways.
Islam. Thank you, good brother.
Mm-hmm. Are there any other questions, comments, concerns before we for anybody? I yield.
Islam. How would we know once our nationalization has been confirmed and established?
Can you repeat that? You said how does nationalization what?
Now, how will we know? Like, say I'm a soon to be national, and I submitted my paperwork. Uh, besides the background check part,
Mm-hmm.
when
Yeah.
at that point, how would I know? Would I get something in the mail saying you're now becoming that? Like, how would I know when I'm officially a national?
Okay, so that's an internal thing as far as the empire. We definitely will be sending out documentation to several parties to notify the colonial states, the United Nations, etc. Just as we all did to actually become Moroccan states, it would be to the same parties. Um, but as far as the direct confirmation that you'll get, that'll be internal. That'll just be from a simple meeting showing proof that the renunciation, the oath of allegiance, the other documents and Google forms that we need, the few that we need, all have been completed, and that we no longer need anything else as far as phase one, which is all about obtaining your nationality. So literally the fifth and sixth steps, which are the last two steps, are renunciation and oath of allegiance. The other four steps prior to that are Google forms such as the background check, consanguinity, your name, uh, and there's another one. But that is pretty much that simple. So after those are completed, in which we'll be updating everybody um, as far as what that looks like. Furthermore, we have the renunciation documents for EMA and VC. Those are the two states we're working on at this moment, and we'll work on the next two, etc. Um, and once we get down, phase by phase, each state will be in communication with the empire to say this is where we're at. These are the documents you can begin to file, etc. So you'll actually know after phase one is complete. Once you actually have phase the steps 5 and 6, which is the renunciation, the oath of allegiance, and once we express that we sent it out, etc., then that's a full circle of things, the due process. So at that moment is when you'll know.
And will the good brother
Let
just
me
get
answer that.
will he get
Let me
an
answer that.
email?
And hold on a second. Let me answer this real quick. Well, now that I can, please excuse the background noise. I'm at work. It's trying to be quick. The nationality comes from your state. We're not looking for anything from the United States. The only thing from the United States is we're renouncing. We don't even care if they send us any notification back saying we accept your renunciation. None of that. We're just putting them on notice. We tell them we're renouncing, and then so it's two. Like the problem was saying, it's a two-step process. One is renunciation, the other one is repatriation. So the repatriation document, that's what you're going to get a copy of to show and prove. Now, further on, what's attached to the renunciation, to the repatriation, is your state ID. Your state ID is your confirmation. But guess what? That's also compromised. We've been locked out of that. That's part of the governmental database. So we have to redo that all over again. I hope that answers the question.
Is
Do we have any other questions or comments on the floor? Floor is open.
I would like to say to all of my senior members in the Empire of Morocco, don't fret. Don't get discouraged, because at one time, a lot of things was produced by a single party. This thing is pressure to us all, and it only can make us better. I yield.
Thank you, Brother Malenko. Wazir. We will continue our reading on consular notification. You guys, most definitely, everyone needs to look at their email chains. All the Wazirs, this up and coming week, we will have. I think the Prime Minister has put out schedules for the up and coming week pertaining to the departments, the dates, the times that every department is going to be having meetings. You probably will want to respond to that email that he put out just to make sure that those dates and times work for you. The Empire is back running like a piston. Let's stay focused. Yes, we will respond to certain nefarious things, but we will respond from a legal standpoint. We will continue to show evidence with short video clippings. I don't who's ever in charge of that. We most definitely need to empower that short video clippings to for evidential purposes. I don't think we need to do much. I mean, I don't think we need to do much of breaking down 175. It's just uh, pretty much a clown show. I think we have some other things that we need to do. Uh, like I said, I'll get that notice sent out to them tonight. Um, that notice will be put within the per the Sultan's um, direction. That notice will be put within the Telegram, and you're free to share that. Will you? Well, as all y'all are, most of you guys are internet gurus. I am not. Okay, so you're free to share that however you want to share it. Prime Minister, do we have anything that we're going to address later today? Are we having a meeting later today just for the people to know?